Everybody, I'm Brett with You Bloom, and welcome back to our Q&A for the week. Hey, this week has been about intuition, how to listen to it, and how to distinguish it from the other faculties. And we have a question I want to answer, and I think it's a really awesome one, but I kind of want to, again, preface the major theme so we can kind of get a context around it, and then I want to go in and answer the question specifically. But again, the idea is, in this particular question, she feels like she's been stuffing her intuition, and she adds, we'll talk about it at the end too, that all of the different parts of us need to be in play, and that is absolutely true. And that is 200% true. As we learn about intuition, what my goal is in teaching you about intuition is to help you know it's a faculty that's there for you. It's a resource there for you. Do I want you running your entire life off your intuition? Do I want you to make the same mistakes with your intuition that you've done with the other parts of your brain? No, definitely not. All parts of you have value, have input, have roles to play. And I don't want you to think that this is, again, an all or nothing kind of thing where we want to just listen to our intuition, we want to cut off our intellect, or we want to just listen to our emotions or cut off our emotions. Emotions play a role, and I know emotions have brought you a lot of pain, and temptation is to cut them off, but we can't do that. Your emotions are part of who you are. Intellect is a part of who you are. Intuition is a part of who you are. And so again, I want to emphasize that this is not about one or the other. I know we get into that black and white thinking, and that is not the purpose of what we're learning today. What we're learning is that there's a tool that you have. There's a way of knowing things that you have that, for the most part, is right. For 90% of the time, it's right and needs to be listened to and followed. Does that mean the other parts of you are worthless and have no value and need to be thrown away? No, that's not the case at all. Again, let me highlight for us real quick. 3 ways of knowing. We have intellect, we have emotions, and we have intuition. Intellect and emotions, we rely on heavily, and the way we want to distinguish those is that intellect has to do with reason, logic, ideas, words, lots and lots of talk, self-talk and self-chatter. And that's one of the ways we know when our intellect is going off. Lots of self-talk, lots of chatter. Now, is intellect important? Sure. Intellect looks at sequencing, being logical, consequences, and it's a variable. But sometimes intellect can be deceived because of the lack of information that it's given, or the wrong information that it's given. The example we're going to talk about today is gaslighting. And intellect is very susceptible to gaslighting. When our brain is put in and told wrong information, A equals 6 and B equals 2, then it's really easy to believe that A and B equals 8. But what if the information was wrong? What if A isn't 6? What if A is 2, B is 2? Now we come up with 4. That's a completely different answer. But there was nothing wrong with the logic. The logic was completely spot on. Your intellect didn't do anything wrong. What happened was the information that you got was faulty. And intellect has no way to know that. Intellect has no way to know if the information is correct or incorrect. Intuition is how we're going to figure that out. And that's what we got to do, is to listen to our intuition to find out what feels true, what feels not true, and then begin to use logic and emotions in other ways. Emotions, let me just talk about emotions real quick. We live in a culture where we distrust our emotions. When you've been betrayed, you learn to distrust your emotions. Emotions are important. Emotions are a healthy part of who you are. And in fact, you could not live your life without your emotions. Your emotions are your drivers. Your emotions get get the job done. And so emotions are highly, highly valuable and important resource for you. Emotions are your drivers. You're not going to get anything done with intellect, because intellect looks at issues and looks at A and B and C and D. And if emotions had a bias in terms of A, B, or C, it would actually contaminate your logic. If I have a bias towards A and then I look at B and C, I'm going to lean to A every time because I have a bias towards A. So it's going to prevent me from really being clear and logical. The best logic is where I absence all emotion and I can look at things equally. Well, that's good. That's good for logic, but it won't get you to where you need to go. Because once you make the decision, once you've gone through the logic, now you need drive. Now you need a driver to get you there. Emotions. Emotions are your drivers. Emotions, passion, feelings are what's going to get you to be able to do what you need to do. If you just make some intellectual idea, I think I'm going to do this, and you have no drive behind it or no drivers behind it, it's going to be a great idea. You know, I really should do yoga. That would be a good thing. Yoga, there's lots of good research shows yoga is a healthy thing to do. I think I should do that. But if you have no drivers on that, if you have no drive to get that done, it's not going to ever happen. So emotions are useful. They drive behavior. Emotions can also be manipulated, particularly fear. Fear, anxiety, once burned, twice shy. Emotions have a bias built into them. If you've been hurt in any way, shape, or form, which is probably why you're here, then you're going to be shy about being hurt again. And fear is going to become a predominant driver for you. So you're going to tend to avoid conflict, avoid negative situations, avoid triggers. You're just going to be in an avoiding mode because you've been hurt. Your driver is going to be always pulling back, and you're not going to be able to get things done in your life. To tap into other drivers, you're going to have to use your intuition. What is true? What is right? What do I need to do right now? Those answers are not going to come from your emotions, because your emotions are going to be more focused on protecting, because fear is a strong driver. But intuition is going to help you. Intuition is going to give you directions. What feels true? Is what my husband's telling me true? Sometimes, and sometimes not. You can't rely on what he tells you for correct information. You have to listen to your heart, your intuition, because that is where you're going to find the true answers, the right answers. All right, so every part of you, valid. Every part of you is needed. Every part of you is important. And where intuition is important is finding the truth. Intellect can be and will be deceived. Emotions can be and will be biased. Intuition helps you find the truth for you, what you need to do. All right? Doesn't that sound valuable? Okay. Let's look at this question and see if we can figure out some answers. The question is titled, Intuition Was in the Closet. And the way the question goes, I do think that my intuition is there and I trust it, but I don't let it speak. I shift to all the intellect and no emotion. Again, logic. Looking back at what we've learned, I did this to live with addictive behaviors and gaslighting. I realized the gaslighting shut off the emotions so it wouldn't hurt, and stuffed intuition into a closet because I thought I bought the deceptions since it was delivered so convincingly and forcefully. I believed my husband. But what I didn't understand was how thoroughly addicts buy their own lies. He still does. That's a huge battle because while they're inside their reality, there is no intellectual, emotional, or intuitive arguments that will free them, and they are inside their own reality. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a line. And there are no arguments that will free them, and they will attract all of those things when they're told something doesn't support my husband's thoughts. That was my red flag. However, intuition and emotions have been a lot quicker now. They all need a seat at the table, and I totally agree. I need to apologize to my intuition and let the intuition speak. When I have found my intuition, it has always been right, but never what I wished. It was never what I wished for. And there were always painful consequences. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So let's look at this question. When you're dealing with lies, I talked about this the other day with a client. When you're dealing with lies, the best, absolute best lies in the world have truth. That's the way good lying works. If you can weave a good lie around a small grain of truth, that is going to give you the absolute best results. If I say to somebody, oh, no, I wasn't here, there may be truth to that. I wasn't there, but I was over here. I was doing this. Now, I didn't say I was doing that. I lied. I omitted that. I left that out. So your intuition may be saying, hey, there's something up. Are you doing this? And I could lie pretty easily and say, no, I'm not doing that. Your intuition's crazy. Your intuition's nuts because I'm not there. I'm over here. So yeah, it's really, really hard. And particularly, I think the mistake that we see in this question and the mistake that we make in ourselves is that we need the other person to validate our intuition. And when they gaslight, and when they continue in their lie, and when they continue to deceive, we question, okay, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's me. Maybe there's something wrong with me. No. Again,